We believe ministers should spend money as carefully as if they borrowed it from a friend. We believe that tax is a means to an end and government should not take a penny more than it needs. We believe returning money to people who need it is fair, is liberal and is right. Now, the other parties say tax cuts aren't possible. But that's because they're too flaky to take the tough choices to make tax cuts possible, too weak to trim back on wasteful spending, too in hoc to wealthy non-doms to threaten higher taxes for the rich. Liberal Democrats are not afraid of tough choices. My shadow cabinet is identifying £20 billion of government spending that isn't working effectively. We need to ask ourselves, when a government has proved itself incapable of keeping people's data secure, why is it spending nearly £13 billion on a botched NHS IT system? When our soldiers need inexpensive, off-the-shelf armoured vehicles today, why is government spending £14 billion on over-complex tanks that won't be ready for years? When we want local government to respond to the needs of local people, why are they spending more than £1 billion filling in forms for Whitehall inspectors? Making these savings will mean we can afford to spend money on the things that really matter. Housing, care for the elderly, children, things that really make a difference, and then cut taxes for the people who need it most. Now, I know that with this approach, streamlined spending and targeted tax cuts, we can get our economy going again. But I don't want to reignite the old one. I want us to be the first country in the world to move to a new economy, a green economy. As well as risking the very future of our planet, our need for dirty energy is crippling us economically. There are growing links between climate change, biofuels, and rising food prices, and inflation is fueled by fuel. One way or another, together we are going to have to use less energy and much less dirty energy. It's the only way. It's the only way. It's the only way to stop the growing threat of disastrous climate change. There must be no third runway at Heathrow, no expansion of Stansted. And for power stations, no Kings North, no more dirty coal, no nuclear. I want to see public transport expanded, with investment funded through charges on road haulage. I want to see homes and businesses become energy efficient, saving money in the process. And I want a huge expansion of renewable energy, meeting and exceeding the commitments Labour has given up on. If we make that change now, Britain will lead the world on green technology, driving growth through green-collar jobs, achieving energy independence within the European Union. Independence, because our position on the international stage is weakened by the West's desperate hunger for fuel. We cower in the shadow of countries we want to stand up to, because we're afraid they might turn off our lights. Just look at where we stand with Russia. And in the Middle East, dependence on fossil fuels undermines the fight for human rights. It halts the onward march of democracy. It's got to end. Instead of basing foreign policy on the principle of who's got the fuel. We need to base it on the principles of justice, on our British values, freedom, democracy, and human rights. Fair and green. This is the new economy we will build. But we need a new kind of government to go with it. To put Britain on the right track for the future, we need to make government people-sized, people-shaped. I was talking to a father recently about how hard it is to find affordable childcare in the school holidays. And he said, why can't we have extra child benefit in those holiday months when we need it the most? And I was talking to a pensioner too, who said, I prefer to get my winter heating allowance in March, when I have to pay for my winter fuel, not in December, when the money just disappears in the Christmas shopping bills. Isn't it blindingly obvious once you think about it? Benefits should be shaped around the needs of people and families, not bureaucrats. And under the Liberal Democrats, they will be. Our health service needs to be people-shaped too. I want patients to have far more control over the care they get. So people with long-term conditions get to be part of designing the care they need, choosing what suits them, and making it work. For mental health patients, for pensioners in need of care, for people with disabilities, it works. A couple of weeks ago, in Sheffield, I met a wonderful woman called Katrina. She's got 3 disabled sons. The oldest is Jonathan, a charming, warm-hearted young man of 19. He can't walk or talk clearly or feed himself alone. He's had a breathing tube in his neck since he was a toddler. And under a scheme the new Liberal Democrat Council in Sheffield is extending, Jonathan's just got his own individual budget and care plan. Now he's doing work with a local charity, attending a music group. He has his own personal assistant. A child whose potential seemed so limited, finally as a young man, engaged in life in a way he and his mother never thought possible. And Katrina told me, with the biggest smile I've ever seen, she said, we've gone from having nothing to having everything. And I want every child's need to be taken this seriously. What depresses me most about what Labour has done to our country is that they've made it a place that's not fit for our children. Children are quite simply inspirational. Miriam and I can't wait to be parents again. I love the way children see the world. There was a great story I heard recently about a little girl doing a painting in class. The teacher comes over and says, what are you painting? And the girl says, God. So the teacher says, but no one knows what God looks like. The girl says, they will in a minute. You see, children just don't see barriers. When you're a child, everything is possible. So how can you not feel angry when you see what has been done to that hope, that innocence? 1 in 3 children growing up in poverty. A million children in cramped and unsafe homes where they don't even have the space to play. More children in prison than any other country in Western Europe. Our children are some of the most unhappy in the world. We have to change this. And the journey starts in our schools. We need to draw out the potential in every child, from every background. Children who are struggling or falling behind, we must help them with extra support, one-to-one tuition or catch-up classes, funded by our pupil premium, which targets extra cash at deprived children. We can engage parents too, giving them the power to set up schools